So here we go. Welcome to another edition of the League One Lowdown, and it's a great pleasure to be joined by Jordan from the Under the Abbey Stand podcast, covering all things Cambridge United. Jordan, it's a pleasure to speak to you as always. How are you doing, my friend?
Thank you very much for having me back on, Ross. Thanks for being so kind to someone that took 4 points off you last season, and happy to discuss all things United with all Ipswich fans, even if they wear pink jackets. Doing good, mate. Doing very good. How about yourselves?
I'm doing really well, my friend. Looking forward to this exciting League One campaign. A lot of big teams in it, a lot of different twists and turns, I'm sure. And let's recap last season in Jordan for Cambridge United. As you said, 4 points taken off Town, especially the game at Portman Road. I'm sure a lot of Town fans are still wanting to get revenge from that and some scores to settle. 14th in League One. Mark Bonner, what a first debut campaign in League One under his management. What a season it was. How would you look back at that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find the words really, because it was like a really unreal season. You know, we thought the season before was really good when we punched above our weight and got promoted when no one, including ourselves, thought we would be in contention. And it was incredible that sort of good momentum continued on into last season. The best, there is a generation of United fans that for them that would be, and I include myself in this, that would be the best season we've ever seen. It's the highest we've finished in the football table for 30 odd years. So it was absolutely unbelievable, and that's just sort of the league standing and the points return. Then you sort of drill into some of the other sort of things that happened in the season. You mentioned winning away at Ipswich. I don't think anyone would have expected that at any point in the season. There were some other really good, memorable wins against top teams. We went to Wigan and beat them. Obviously, the cup run was just this extra cherry on the top as well. So on the pitch, an incredible season. Mark Bonner's stock, it must be so high at the moment. I wonder if we'll keep hold of him this year. But if all the things on the pitch weren't brilliant enough off the pitch, we brought our stadium back, which is, we've been paying rent for a decade or so. So that was probably the biggest piece of the season for us, finally getting our home back and sorting ourselves out there. So dare I say, probably the best we've ever had it. An incredible season.
That's good to hear. It's always good to hear when you hear clubs getting their stadium back. It feels like you've got your club back now full circle because you've got all of it, which is good to hear. The current mood, I'm sure, is fantastic. Second season in League One, got a good squad. What is the ambitions this season? And we're going to go talk more about the thoughts later on, but I'm sure just excited again for another League One campaign.
Yeah, very excited. Obviously, well aware that it'll be a tough season. That the league hasn't got any easier. In fact, I would say it's got harder considering who's come up and who's come down from various leagues. But the current mood in the Cambridge camp is positive and it's upbeat. It really feels like with the organisation that we've got and the setup we've got, which the spearhead is Mark Bonner, but there's some other key people as well. Our director of football, our coaching staff, our owner. It feels like everything is in a really, really good and healthy place. And, I feel like we can trust the process. I don't want to quote Arsenal or whatever, but I feel like we can trust the process because we've got very trustworthy people running the club. And, we've dropped out of the league. We've had to sell our stadium. We've got into administration. So we've been the flip side of that, where we've had very poor management and poor running. So it's a really, really good mood at the club. And looking ahead to the season, the good mood is added to by the fact that this summer we managed to keep hold of pretty much everyone in the squad. There are a lot of clubs this postseason that had to do big rebuilding jobs, and we weren't one of those. We managed to keep hold of nearly all of our key players. One exception, Jack Ardale left to go join Bolton. Bolton have a very good-looking team this season, I think. As a sidetrack, I think they might be a dark horse for the playoffs. But yeah, the biggest win over the summer for us was keeping the squad together. I'm very conscious I'm saying this a week before the season starts, and we might sell someone tomorrow and I'll look silly. But as it stands at the time of recording, everyone that we would want to be here. You know, big players from last season like Sam Smith and Joe Ironside with their goals, and Dimi Mitov with his clean sheets. They're all still here. So, yeah, really healthy club on and off the pitch, and looking forward to another season in League One. And yeah, it's brilliant.
It is indeed. Yeah, it's always good to keep hold of your players, and yeah, it's always that fear when you do a recording. I've said this multiple times. We've got a month of the window left to go, and players can leave any time. And yeah, you can say one thing, yeah, he's still here. Next day, and then when it goes out, oh, he's sold. And he's like, oh, it's been. Well, this video is now just done, really, because yeah. Let's talk about business. So the ins. You happy with the business so far? Some players coming in on, you know, from the one standout for me is a great name, Zeno Ibson Rossi, or I'll probably butcher that, from Bournemouth.
Yep.
But are you happy with the business so far?
Great name, great haircut as well. It's a good combo. Yeah, I'm happy with the summer business. I think following on from what I've just said, like the biggest piece of summer business was keeping the squad together. We went into the summer not needing to do a big rebuilding job. All we had to do was sort of replace players that have left and add to them. And we knew that quite early doors that Iredale was going to go. It was no surprise when he didn't sign his contract extension. So we knew we had to get a new starting left back, which we've done. We signed a really exciting looking player who came through the Portsmouth Academy called Honstrop, and he did really well up in Scotland for Kilmarnock. So in terms of sort of comparing what we've lost and what we've got, it does look like a good like for like there. We needed to add bodies in central defence, and we've done that, which is Rossi, who you mentioned, quite highly rated through the Bournemouth Academy, paid a fee, which is very unlike us. And then yeah, the big one sort of for me, I really felt like we needed a sort of a ball playing central midfielder, and as it stands, we haven't signed someone of that profile. I wonder if between now and the season starting, we might look to a young player from a Premier League team or something like that. We did that last season with a guy called Jensen Weir. So it seems like a position that you could maybe find via the loan market. So that's my only sort of doubt or reservation about the recruitment. Other than that, it's all been pretty decent. We released Wesley Houlihan in the summer. Don't know if he's got a club yet. I haven't seen an announcement saying he's retired. I hope he carries on playing. But we didn't sign a number 10 to backfill him. And actually, I agree with that decision, because we had quite a few candidates that could fill that role. Harvey Nibbs, who started at number 10 when we came to Portman Road and had man of match performance, is a candidate, as is your boy Jack Lancaster, who had a fragmented season last year with injury, which probably sounds familiar to Ipswich fans, but he's had a really good pre-season, so we're hoping that he can hit the ground running. So instead of buying a number 10, we went out and got a guy called Jana, who we got from Bristol City, who could play as a wide forward or a central forward. So it's another good piece of business there. And the people that we've signed all fit the kind of Mark Bonner profile that we've grown to know and love over the last couple of years. Like, we've had a really good talent for spotting players that weren't quite, achieving things. And we signed players like Jack Iredale, who couldn't get in the Carlisle squad, and he's now, going to be a starter for Bolton. We signed people like Joe Ironside from a club that got relegated from the league. So we've got a good knack for sort of scouting and spotting players, and the three that I've mentioned there all sort of fit into that profile. So feeling pretty confident with the summer business.
Okay, then. You covered all bases really there, but I want to just get your thoughts, your personal opinion. What are you wanting to see this season? Of course, you want to do maybe better, maybe a bit more better than 14th place finish. Do you want to continue that momentum that you've got? What's your feelings right now about it all?
It's really, really important for Cambridge as a club to sort of ride this wave of good feeling and optimism, and the profile of the club is probably at the highest it's been for a long while. We sold out a lot of games last season, including Ipswich, of course. And just being in League One, it is more of an interesting league to sort of your floating fan or your fan that doesn't come every week. So we need to sort of build on that kind of good feeling at the club and stay in this league and stay in a league where you've got attractive teams come and play you most weeks. Not every week. You still got a few, less glamorous ties. I won't name names. But yeah, it's important that we sort of ride that wave, because if we want to grow the club and develop the ground and things like that, we need people coming through the turnstile to help fund that. So with that in mind, looking forward to the season ahead, I genuinely think not being relegated and staying in the league would be a success. I think there'd be Cambridge fans that would berate me for saying something like that, and would say that I'm being a bit negative and that we should be looking to, at least do 14th again, or maybe try and build on it. But I don't know. I see this as a project, and I think we need to be in the league for a good few years and build that foundation before we can think about trying to maybe move into sort of a top 10 outside playoff style club. And it's really difficult because, there are just so many teams who have got sort of bigger sort of fundings and foundations than us, that it is always going to be a league of almost two halves. So we want to make sure that we are top of that second half and flirting with the top bit. But maybe doesn't have to be straight away this season. But I genuinely think a success for us this year would be staying in the league. And like I said earlier, I think it will be a harder league this year. The teams that have come up from League Two are, I think, have more money or at their disposal than Morecambe, Cheltenham and ourselves did last season. So they've got the funds to invest. I know we've lost Sunderland and Rotherham, who were big clubs, but I think in Derby and Peterborough and Barnsley, you've got three clubs that are willing to splash the cash. So it's kind of a like for like. So yeah, season ahead, as I think a success would be staying in the league, and yeah, hope we do it.
Indeed, and yeah, because it's second season syndrome as well. It can happen with a lot of clubs who have come up from League Two, have an unbelievable first season League One, and then the second season goes to pop. Hopefully, it won't be Cambridge. Let's talk head-to-heads then. It's always going to be a big talking point going into a League One campaign. It's your town, Cambridge. Always going to be big games because they're nearby rivals. Team, it's only up. Not a derby for Zombie or A14. It's just an easy trip for a lot of people to go up the A14, go to the Abbey, of course, come down the Portman Road. Of course, first of all, it's the game at Portman Road on September 10th, early doors then. Of course, the league is just shaping up a tiny bit. We know sort of fixtures, how everyone's getting on. Then we actually travel to the Abbey in October for the Papa John's Trophy. We'll move on straight away. And then, of course, in February, we then go back to the Abbey in the league. And of course, at that point, we'll sort of know how the league is shaping up. What shall we expect for those two games? Once again, I'm sure it'll be a sellout at the Abbey. Away end will be packed at Portman Road as well. Just two exciting games we always look forward to because they are just big games to just look forward to.
Yeah, I guess in terms of head-to-head, Cambridge Ipswich this season, I would forego doing well against Ipswich to do well against another East Anglian team that wear blue and white, a tin pot pissy little club called Peterborough United, who we've not played in a real competition for about 20 years. So that derby is back. The Cambridgeshire derby is back. That's the big one that everyone's looking forward to this season. I hope the club can deliver because there's a lot of expectation and pressure going on to that game. So that's our big sort of rival that we get to play again, which everyone is buzzing for. So I will forego points against Ipswich in exchange for getting something against Peterborough. But in terms of the head-to-head against Ipswich, I don't want to sort of jinx anything, and I know you guys heard a lot of this pre-season last year, but I do think you'll do well this season. I think you've recruited really well. We had Don Ball play for us a few years ago. I think he was at Spurs at the time. He always looked like a player. Obviously, Ladapu from Rotherham we know is brilliant. And also Harness, who you picked up from Portsmouth, is a really, really good piece of business. He was a real nuisance when we played them last season. So I back Ipswich to do well this year. I think you will be in the hunt for the title. Got you and Sheffield Wednesday sort of earmarked as the two teams to beat. So I think when it comes to the head-to-head, I would imagine you'll probably do better than the 1 point that you got this season, which we'll happily accept as long as we can beat Peterborough.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough, my friend. Well, Jordan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. Any other business? Anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
Just to remind you, it's not a derby.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I think a lot of town fans will agree with you on that one. But I'm looking forward to my trip to the Abbey because it's just a nice excuse for an easy away day, and you can just get it sorted early doors. And it's only an hour up the road for me anyway. Some of it may be a bit further. But no, Jordan, thanks for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the League One lowdown so far. A couple more clubs to go, and the big countdown for the kickoff is nearly there.